Everybody. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Big day today in crypto. We have, of course, if you haven't heard, a 2 week ceasefire announced last night, and the markets are going crazy. Just going to check over on X, make sure everyone can hear me over there. Yep, looks like people can hear me over there. Let me put a little, like to put a little GM for good morning in the chat. But yeah, in case you haven't heard, ceasefire, a 2 week mutual ceasefire announced last night. And the markets have been going crazy ever since. Yeah, oil literally, I have a slide I'll show you. Oil literally dropped from 110. It was 115, I think, yesterday during this show. Yeah, welcome to Opening Bell Crypto. Hopefully we can save you a lot of time, tell you everything that happened while you were sleeping and all the macro events and news that are affecting your crypto bag. So if you're in crypto Bitcoin, this is probably the best place you can be. Wake up to every morning, whether you're driving in or just waking up, or at your office, or if you catch it later in the day in the recording. Welcome and glad you could make it. Today is one of those days. We really only have about 12 days a year when crypto really pumps like this, right? So we take them. We never know exactly when. Maybe it's a few more on some years, but in general, it's not as often as one would think. So most of the time, we're just surviving, and the rest of the time, we have these few days when we can truly celebrate. Of course, maybe this will actually stick and get solidified and lead to peace over there in the Middle East, which is even better. We don't need more people getting blown up and dying either. So aside, of course, we talk about how it affects our bags and our bank accounts and our crypto wallets, but on a broader scale, we definitely do not want war is a bad thing, and hopefully this will end in a peaceful manner. But anyway, check this out. The NASDAQ futures up. The NASDAQ up, getting ready to open here in about 8 minutes. 3.55%. Dow Jones is up over 2.5%. Let me pull that up. But yeah, everything's going absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy, except for oil. Oil's going down, but that's what we wanted. That's what we needed. Yeah, we'll check out the Dow. We'll check Bitcoin, start looking at the news. Yep, here we have the Dow Jones looking positive, 48,000. Remember, we historically a few months ago broke 50,000, but now we just since the announcement jumped 1,234 points. So 264. Looks like the S&P is about the same. So a whopping almost 3.5%. For the NASDAQ, over 2.5% for the Dow futures, and over 2.66, over 2.5% as well for the S&P. So massive day in the markets. Of course, you look, we're all green. Everything's crazy. I mean, look at that. Zcash, 25.8%. Ondo, an RWA play, 6.8. Virtuals, an AI play, 21. Render, 12.9. Tau, BitTensor, an AI play, 11%. Sui, 9.4. Say, 10.4. Everything, right? Aave, 9.6. Trump even up 7.6. But let's look at Bitcoin, man. A glorious day. Bitcoin, 72,474. We got up as high just a few minutes ago, 72,620, but up 5.8% for the day. So huge day. Ethereum, even a bigger winner, 2,258, up 8.3%. 8.3% in one day. Like I say, you're lucky if you get 12 of these type of days a year. So let's definitely celebrate them, rejoice, and hope this sticks. Number one. Number two, let's hope that it leads to lasting peace over there and a betterment of the world and the economies in the Middle East, relationships with the Middle East. There's an opportunity for Iran to join the global world of nations, right? That become an active participant and really thrive economically if they choose to do it, and kind of can leave behind that radical terrorist type mentality they've had for the last 47, 50 years. But look, we said there was three chances. Either the bombs start flying, this is what we said yesterday, the bombs start flying, we kick it down the road, or we come up with a peace deal. Now, this is kind of kicking it down the road a little bit, but there does seem to be a real framework for some lies. Look, Trump's wanting to get out of that. We know that. He wants to exit stage left. It's going to be hard to pull him back in there, He definitely wants to get out and has accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. But it's not good for him and for the markets and him from getting reelected in the economy. So he wants to get out of it. But they're not going to, within reason, right? But I'm hopeful that this can lead to a more lasting deal. But XRP, $1.38.5, up a whopping 5.8%. And Solana, 84.69, up 7.1%. It got as high as we see, 86.68. So with 3 minutes to go to the market open, we are off and running, man. Historic day, really. Huge. I don't even know how many shorts got liquidated. It had to be in the hundreds of millions, maybe a billion. Haven't seen too many people talking about that. But Iranian Foreign Minister Aragachi, I'm not saying it right, officially announced the safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz will be granted for 2 weeks. And Trump had this to say: based on conversation with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destruction force being sent tonight in Iran, and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, safe opening of the Straits of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing attack on Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with definitive agreement concerning concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal. I've heard it's 15 points, and believe it is a workable base on which to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. On behalf of the United States of America as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have this long-term problem due close to resolution. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So there we are. We've got, it's a positive thing. Now we're going to hear both things from both sides, and it's got to stick, right? It's definitely got to stick for it to make sense. But so far, so good. GM, by the way, welcome everyone. It's listening live on YouTube and X. You probably heard, but we do have a 2-week ceasefire, and now, like I say, it's definitely not over, but it's moving in the right direction. Crypto and the rest of the markets have gone very well. On the crypto side, the White House released a study saying that banning stablecoin yield will do very little to protect bank lending, and that concerns around bank deposit flight are exaggerated. So a lot of the banks have been saying this would just be devastating, for their deposits, everyone to leave, yada, yada, yada. Basically wanting to use law to continue their, scam they've been running on us for the last several hundred years. Anyway, they came out here and said that it would only increase the lending of like 0.02, they're basically minuscule. So one less obstacle there to getting the Clarity Act and the this Crypto Structure Act passed. So good news, big news. There's some big news today on the crypto front, obviously. Also, Trump came out and threatened a 50% tariff on any country supplying weapons to Iran. No exceptions. The obvious names are Russia and China, both long tied to Iran through defense and dual-use tech transfers, and North Korea, a perennial suspect on missiles and components. So basically, the Middle East, and nobody's going to want to see Iran go back to a military strength that they had before. But they have an opportunity to become a true global participant. Let's hope that happens. I mean, it could be great for the people in charge economically and also the people if hopefully some of that trickles down. Hopefully we can have, most of their leadership has been killed. So it's a chance for some more reasonable voices to come out. Let's pray that happens. Let's hope that happens. Okay, which this was tomorrow. This from yesterday. $6 trillion Morgan Stanley becomes the first bank to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF. And they have 16,000 financial advisors to promote it. So this is how it happens. This is why I've been telling you. This is why I've been so panicked to buy more Bitcoin, stack more sats, because I want to get in before all these banks do, all their customers do. And then we can just sit back and let them pump our bags. Easy money. Market's been open for a couple minutes. We'll hit a little more news and then look. It's been reported that China was kind of the final push. They made a strong push at the end there to get Iran over the finish line and to push them to come up with a ceasefire. Obviously, it's in their interest, but it's in everyone's interest to quit bombing. Innocent people getting killed and infrastructure getting destroyed. Not a good thing. So I'm hoping this passes, but obviously China pushing for it. They've been fairly quiet, but they're definitely, it is rumored that, been reported that they were the ones that really pushed Iran to shoot for this or to accept it and move forward. And like I said, I think that gives them an advantage. I do not think Trump wants to get out of this. He wants to exit stage left. If it's reasonable for him to declare a win and get out with, and let everyone else deal with this problem moving forward, I think he'll do that. And I think that's good for everybody. Hopefully cooler heads prevail and we don't see some, people breach this contract. So I'm pretty optimistic. Obviously, so is the market. The U.S. just introduced official stable. I believe this was the FDIC. Yep. U.S. just introduced official stablecoin rules under the Genius Act. 1-to-1 reserved, instant redemption, no rehypothecation. This is the foundation. So yeah, you can go in and read this. I don't know how, bottom line is several different agencies and different people can come up with their own kind of structure and stuff within the law, and eventually it'll all come together. But the strongest is not an individual agency coming up with it. The strongest is to have actual law, and then they can interpret the law from there and build their, so the most powerful thing is that Stablecoin Act and whatnot. But the fact that they're moving in the right direction is good. Stablecoin, like, is very important for the adoption, and very important for the U.S. government. This is crazy. Oil crashed 16%. It literally went from $110 all the way down to 93 in 60 minutes. One of the largest hourly drops in history. Let me check real quick. I can't do it on my computer. Let me check real quick of what oil's doing now that the market's open. Then we'll jump over and look at the market. It's been open for just under 5 minutes. Let me see. Let me see how oil's looking. Oil 92.63. 92.59. I opened a short last night at 96 and 96.80 or something like that. But I wimped out on it when I saw some reports that and initially there was still some bombs flying back and forth. So I wussed out on my show. I was doing it on my BitUnex, which is a place. I don't use it for leverage trading, but I do grid bots over there with no leverage. I do some shorts, and it's in my bio on my X account. But anyway, that's a way to trade. If you don't have a futures account on CME or something like that, you can trade it. Also, I saw a report that on Bit, who is it? One of the largest one centralized crypto exchanges of futures exchange, Bit. I want to say BitGo, but anyway, they're on the they're on some Formula One cars and stuff. But anyway, it became their largest trading pair for a little while. Flipped Bitcoin USDT there for a bit, but anyway, kind of cool. Well, let's see how the markets are holding up here. Let's refresh these and see. But yeah, I don't have like a commodities exchange or anything like that, so I do it. I've been trading mine on BitUnex. So, and the reason I like it, I can't do like I can't get a BitGet or some of these others, BitGoes in this because I'm in the U.S. BitUnex is a good solid exchange that they do not require KYC. You still have to use a VPN, but okay, let's see where we're at here. And you can trade spot there too. On all these exchanges, you don't have to use them to use leverage. I advise most people against using leverage because it's an easy way to lose your money. Most people do not know what they are doing and do not know how to manage the risk. But anyway, S&P is up 2.69, close to what it was looking like it was going to open at. Looks like the NASDAQ's over 3% as well. Let's find out exactly, though. But yeah, historic day, man. A day to party for sure. A day to celebrate. Yesterday, I mean, we've been, geez. And hopefully this is the end of it, Hopefully this is the end of it and the ceasefire holds. Sorry, this website is so slow. And I've got a bunch of windows bogging down my laptop as well. But it's looking like it's about 3.25%, and the Dow's looking like it's just right under 3%. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and waste our time looking, but I'll just refresh the main page here. Yep, 3.2% on the NASDAQ, the positive, 2.9% on the Dow, 2.52% on the S&P. Bitcoin, let's let it refresh here. Let's see. Okay, looks like if we look at the hourly chart here, yeah, it looks like little drop since the opening, which is interesting, but it already had pumped, over 5%. But yeah, 71,990. So right there, we hit a high of 72,745 a few minutes ago. And now we're right there, just right under 72. It'd be great if we can hold these numbers, man. Would be wonderful. Ethereum, I'm looking at the hourly chart here, by the way, if it looks a little crazy. Ethereum 2245 up 7.9%. Still a little bit of a drop since the bell opened. XRP $1.38.2. Yep, a little bit, but still up 5.7% for the day. Solana 84.35. So we're seeing a little drop, but that's pretty typical. I mean, the market's only been open 9 minutes. Pretty common for this to happen. So, I would say it is what it is. I'm pretty happy today. I couldn't ask for too much more. Now we just have to hope that it holds, right? So the market's going crazy. Look a little more of the news and get on the day. Find out where I was at here. I believe this is where we left off. Oh yeah, New York Times came out with a research article claiming that Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, Adam Back, of course, an OG, the only person personally mentioned in Satoshi's white paper by name. He's got his PhD in cryptography, and early OG was right there in the mix and could certainly have been part of it. But he's and a big player, man, a good dude. I believe he's, I don't know if he's New Zealand. I don't know where he's from. If he's Australian, South, I don't know where Adam Back's from, but he's about mid 50s. But anyway, he denies it, said he's not Satoshi. He doesn't know who Satoshi is, but he was right there working with Satoshi early on. But he claims he's not Satoshi, and he has one of the biggest crypto holding companies, like the second or third largest out there. So he's actively involved in his company. Charles Schwab, this is interesting. This is why I'm telling you to get in. This is why I'm feeling FOMO to stack more Bitcoin. Charles Schwab says a 1 to 3% allocation into Bitcoin or Ethereum can reshape portfolio risk. And they're now suggesting up to an 8.8% Bitcoin allocation in aggressive portfolios at a 15% a year return assumption. So basically, they're saying this could be good. There we go. Quantum 9652, good buddy from X coming at me from YouTube, watching live. He said Back is British. He was behind Hashcash. Yeah, an early adopter, early guy there with definitely fits the profile, right? Definitely fits the profile. But yeah, so he's British. Good dude. His company and a company that I'm an owner in, CoinZoom, which is a U.S. exchange, very friendly. We've had a lot of discussions with their company. They've been out to our offices here in Utah, and CoinZoom offices. So yeah, good guys. And also met with them at the Bitcoin conference. The founders of CoinZoom had a meeting with them last year at the Bitcoin conference. So anyway, he's great dude, good dude in the space. I like Adam Back a lot. He spoke at the conference. One of the great voices for Bitcoin and what they're doing, and Quantum too. He's one of the people I trust the most when we talk about quantum risk. But just to put this in perspective, Charles Schwab is saying you can reset, your reshape your portfolio risk if you invest 1 to 3% in Bitcoin or crypto or Ethereum, and actually allowing or suggesting up to an 8.8% Bitcoin allocation if you have an aggressive portfolio. So these guys have tens of thousands of advisors out there and millions, tens of millions of customers, right? This is why it's important to buy all the Bitcoin and quality you can before this takes off, and they take off without you. But huge. Now, of course, Michael Saylor believes it's 30 to 40% a year. That's why his STRC product pays 11.5% fixed a year. But this is huge. When you have one of the biggest financial institutions in the world saying this, it's huge, absolutely huge. Median rent in Manhattan has hit $5,000 a month for the first time ever for More Perfect US. Shout out to the commies running things up there, Mandami or whatever his name is. You have to have $5,000 just to rent a place. I'm glad I sold I had a place in Battery City Park. I'm glad I sold it. It was fun. I enjoyed going there. It was right on the water there, right next to the World Trade Center, actually out my bathroom window. We sold it about 6 months before that all happened. So it's been a while, but I wouldn't want to be an owner. I wouldn't want to be in New York right now. But $5,000 a month, man, that's crazy. South Korea is moving to legalize tokenized real-world assets and stable coins under existing laws. The proposal sets rule for both RWA and stable coins, requiring real asset backing in regulated trusts while allowing stable coins to be used more easily for everyday payments. It's happening. It is happening. More and more countries. This will open the door for people to feel more comfortable. More regulation. though we may not like it as degens and maybe cypherpunks, and we maybe appreciate the more decentralized, but to get true global adoption and become true global currency, this is what needs to happen. The world's largest derivative exchange, the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group, just confirmed it will launch 24/7 Bitcoin trading next month. Man, what is that? 3 trillion volume trade in 2025? So we'll get rid of that pesky CME gap that messes with us all the time. Because right now it only trades with Wall Street. So this is big, and this is no shock to any of us that were here and we're following it, but the SEC has officially admitted that past crypto enforcement actions often produce no investor benefit. In other words, no benefit to us, and were based on a misinterpretation of federal securities laws. In a landmark report, the agency acknowledged it misallocated resources to pursue media headlines rather than genuine investor protection. Yeah, not shocked, right? But this was enforcement by lawsuits and stuff like that. And think of who they were going after: Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, the good guys of the space. So this is nice that they admit what we already knew. They were illegally going after all these people that were trying to do the right thing. And they were scaring people off. Same thing UK is trying to do right now. $6.1 trillion UBS, together with 5 major Swiss banks, partner to test Swiss franc stablecoin. This is huge. Obviously, Swiss banking, one of the backbones of global banking for centuries, is now going to have a Swiss bank stablecoin. So you'll be able to own different stablecoins based on which currency you use or which currency you trust. You'll be able to diversify your stablecoin holdings a little bit, which is huge. Scott Bessent, if you're upon public assistance, you can no longer wire money out of the country. Great move. And then last but not least, as far as our news for the day, from Polymarkets, the chance of oil breaking below $80 in April increased to 51%. So, yeah, great news today. Great news. Let's take another look back, recap everything. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Thanks for celebrating with me, I should say, today. Appreciate everyone listening live and everyone who supports the channel and retweets, likes, and follows. Appreciate you, whether on YouTube, Rumble, or X. Soon to be going live on TikTok as well. I've been messing with TikTok now for about the last month and a half. Yep, we're still at NASDAQ is positive 3.22%. The Dow is now positive 3.07%. S&P 2.51. Let's look at crypto. Let's see how it's doing. Let's look at Bitcoin on the hourly. Losing a little ground. I mean, looks great on the daily, right? Up 5.1%. Losing a little on the hourly, which is not surprising because it pumps so much. I'll take it. I'm happy with it. Yeah, today's the day to celebrate. I said yesterday, missiles are going to fly, we're going to kick the can down the road, or we're going to come up with a peace deal. Kind of a hybrid of the last two, right? Obviously, everyone needs to follow by it. Not break the ceasefire. Got to come to a final conclusion, but things are looking decently optimistic. Look, Trump doesn't want to be stuck there in a quagmire. It's hurting his polling. It's hurting the economy and everything. So I think it's going to be hard to pull Trump back in, but we'll see. He will do it if it doesn't meet the needs and things get crazy. But right now, let's be cautious. What is it Ronald Reagan used to say? Trust but verify. So now let's trust but verify. Let's be cautiously optimistic today is the word. But thanks for joining me. we'll see. It's a Wednesday. Let's see how the next couple of days play out. You're welcome to join me over on the GM Bitcoin Morning Show. Starts at the top of the hour in about 10 minutes. We'll talk of these things more, cover a lot of the same news, but I do have other co-hosts and speakers. Feel free to join me. Feel free to come up and speak. And thank you for joining me here for Opening Bell Crypto, man. Appreciate you. And happy hump day, man. Got my tacos yesterday. And other than that, man, it was just grinding all day. But anyway, happy that things are working out this way. Well, you don't need to touch some grass. We can just party.